There you go, Amber. We'll throw it back to you.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much. And you were just giving us that traffic look, and most who cross the Mississippi River Bridge in South Louisiana know how incredibly congested that can get. But the gridlock over solutions may be clearing, as NBC's Local 33's Harrison Golden explains.
For years, plans for a new bridge over the Mississippi have been stop and go. But government leaders hint that the idea of a span to relieve miles of daily congestion is finally speeding up.
If we were here 15, 20 years ago, we would tell you we needed to build this bridge back then.
It's not something that we have to try and figure out if there's a need for it. We know that there's a need for it.
Following legislation from State Senator Rick Ward, 5 parish presidents and 2 state appointees will look at what it would take to make a new river crossing reality.
Where you can cross. What's the height of the bridge? What's the right-of-way impact when you touch down? In fact, if you're going to do tolling, are you going to have a toll booth or are you going to have electronic tolling?
State Transportation Chief Sean Wilson is on the new Capital Area and Bridge Authority. Members will also look at state and federal funding streams as well as public-private partnerships.
We have a wheelbarrow full of needs and projects with a thimble full of money, and we're going to have to require the private sector absolutely to come to the table and help us.
Certain funding ideas may be up to voters.
Any of those.
Ward says the bridge's future will largely hinge on winning that public trust.
We can put the best deal forward. If it doesn't pass, whenever it goes in front of the people for them to vote on it, we've really accomplished nothing.
He says funding plans could hit the ballots as early as this fall, though Wilson argues the group has a lot to discuss before nailing down a timeline.
We can't go to grocery stores and pick up a bridge and just drop it, but we can start that process. We can start making some decisions that we need to make, and those decisions are going to be decisions that are going to have to last for the next 30 to 40 to 50 years, so we've got to get it right.
For NBC Local 33 News, I'm Harrison Golden.
The proposed bridge has some private interest already. Baton Rouge investor Jim Bernard offered to cover construction costs up front. We are asking you on social media this morning to go ahead and tell us where you think a new Mississippi River Bridge should go. We heard from Ashley Napie, who said between Baton Rouge and the Sunshine Bridge. You can sound off anytime on our Facebook page, and you might see your comment right here on NBC Local 33 today. Now to Iberville Parish, where 2 people are dead after 2 separate car crashes only hours apart. Louisiana State Police troopers say they responded to a crash just before midnight, as well as one shortly after 7 Thursday morning. The first crash happened on Highway 405 just north of Highway 69. Chucky Taylor died in that one. The other crash happened on Highway 77. Investigators say both drivers were not wearing their seatbelts. Back here in East Baton Rouge Parish, a house fire in Central took firefighters almost an hour to put out. Officials say responders were sent to the house on Fir Avenue just after 3 Thursday afternoon. They say the family has been displaced, but fortunately no one was injured. 2 pets, however, did not make it out. The cause of the fire is currently under investigation. A veteran of the Baton Rouge Police Department is saying his goodbyes. Officer Mike Graham is retiring after almost 50 years on the police force. Graham is well known for the decades he spent on air as a meteorologist, all the while working in the police reserves. Baton Rouge Police honored Graham for his dedication to the force at police headquarters.
I have not had a job that I have not liked going to. It's not work if you enjoy it, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've been in communications since 2007, and I've talked to almost every police officer on the road, and I've enjoyed working with each and every one of them.
Graham joined the Baton Rouge Police Department in 1970. And in your local election headquarters this morning, the showdown over the government shutdown continues. Lawmakers were split over 2 proposals. The first, backed by most GOP senators and a West Virginia Democrat, would have spent $5 billion on the border wall. An Associated Press poll shows 60% of Americans blame President Donald Trump for the shutdown, and it appears that is hurting his popularity.
They talk about border security, but talk is cheap until you're actually willing to put the money in place that our experts who are risking their lives say is needed. And that number is $5.7 billion. If they're not willing to support that request from our experts, what number are they willing to support to keep this country safe?
The Senate also failed to pass a Democratic-backed measure to reopen the government without border wall funding. The government shutdown is also impacting our Coast Guard, who provides a critical service to our nation. While other members of the U.S. military that report to the Defense Department are getting paychecks, the Coast Guard is part of Homeland Security. That means they are not getting paid and are about to miss their second paycheck. Even with the shutdown, many members of the Coast Guard are deployed around the world, which could add extra stress while they know family members are back home struggling financially. You can donate to provide financial assistance to Coast Guard members by visiting the Coast Guard Mutual Assistance website. America's airports are the epicenter for the effects of the government shutdown. Washington correspondent Bree Jackson reports on how the shutdown is affecting airline operations.
As the partial government shutdown drags on, airline workers fear for their financial future, national security, and airline passenger safety.
Why are we at this point right now? We should be getting a paycheck. We should be feeding our family.
Rahael Abraham is a TSA employee who's working without pay. And Sarah Nelson is with the Association of Flight Attendants.
No one will get out of this unscathed if we do not stop this shutdown.
The head of the Airline Traffic Controllers Association says if the shutdown continues, airlines may have to reduce flights.
We have a chink in the armor, is what I'm saying. We are opening ourselves up to risk in the system.
And this shutdown is affecting airports all across the country. Officials say that nearly 40% of FAA workers are furloughed and thousands are working without pay.
So this is already a disaster.
Virginia Senators Tim Kaine and Mark Warner say federal workers are being held hostage because of the president's demand for a border wall.
Disgraceful that we've not had a White House that's been willing to say, let's move to a solution.
Both Democrats say they're willing to negotiate a deal on border security. But Kaine says government shutdowns should not be a negotiating tactic.
It's to punish a whole lot of people unnecessarily. We're not compromising on that.
Airline officials insist they will not compromise on passenger safety. And the government employees say, despite going another week without a paycheck, safety remains their top priority. In Washington, Bree Jackson.
We asked you to join in on the conversation yesterday when we posted this question on social media. What do you think would be the best way to end the government shutdown? We heard from a number of you, including Jason Bro, who posted this long comment saying, just open it. The president shouldn't take the country hostage in this petty way over a lie. It shows how bad of a negotiator he is. He had 2 years of complete government control, and apparently there wasn't a security emergency then. 800,000 people are hurting, and our country is less safe because of this. You are causing an actual crisis to fix a fake one. And Anna Brignac, who answered on the other side of the issue, said, build the wall and start working together for the people and not the politicians. Thank you, Jason and Anna. And remember, you can sound off anytime on our Facebook page. You might see your answer right here on NBC Local 33 today. Coming up, if you plan on retiring anytime soon, we have all the advice that you're going to want to know. That and more in this morning's edition of Money Talk. Stay with us.